Coach, your first Civil War.
Well, obviously, excited about the game. The kids are excited. Rivalry games, last game of the year. We're playing a quality opponent, which we all know, and it's a great opportunity once again. But these games are special. It's just like I told the kids, you'll remember these forever. My 2 years in Division I football at this point of the season, I was on crutches both my years, so I never got to play in that big rivalry game that I was a part of. And but I remember them. I remember basically exactly what took place in those games. And there's not many games that I remember in college that I remember them like I remember those 2 games I didn't even play in. So the opportunity to be able to play in these games is special, and our kids are excited about the opportunity to compete. It divides homes, it divides the state. It's pretty cool. That's what college football is all about, so we're lucky to be part of it.
Gary, tell us your thoughts about the Oregon program, and have you developed any dislike for the Ducks in your short time here?
Yeah, I don't know if dislike's the proper word. I believe in these rivalry games, you need to have respect for all your opponents, and you need to have some respect for your rivals and understand, exactly where they're at. Getting to know the coaching staff. Obviously, I don't know the kids on the team, but getting to know the coaching staff, there's definitely respect on both sides, and it's been like that in the past when Coach Riley's staff was here, just from listening to those coaches talk. So, I feel the same way. But is it a heated football game in a big-time moment with respect? Yes, that's the way it should be. I do feel this way about rivalries. It's it's been a while now since we've been in a position at Oregon State to uphold our end of the bargain, and we're looking forward to that day and that opportunity to be able to get that done and to really, truly have it be as big a rivalry as it can be. That needs to take place, and we're excited as we go through this week to prepare to expect to make that happen, number one, and then number two, as we continue through the years, you want to make that game be very, very special, highly competitive, and winners and losers go back and forth, and then it even gets specialer than it is right now, in my opinion.
Gary, even though you weren't at Oregon State, have you ever gotten a chance to see, watch any part of a Civil War before, or have anything like that? And if not, what have you been able to draw from Coach Brennan and his past at Oregon State for the Civil War?
I've watched as many rivalry games as I can watch in the past. I'll watch them. I don't care what level it is. If it's a 1AA game, I'm going to watch it. So anytime I get to see those games, I'll definitely sit back and watch them. And I've watched many Civil Wars. Of course you do. You live on the West Coast, you're going to watch that game, and it's a special opportunity. I think it's played on a good day for us too. Day after Thanksgiving, and there will be a lot of eyes on both of our programs, a lot of eyes upon our state, and they'll get to see how good a football can be played in this state. And it's great for both programs, and it's great for the state.
Any one of those Civil Wars ever still hang in your mind? Ones that were you're like, wow, that was a really good game.
Well, during the summer on the treadmill, you got those days in July, and there's nothing really on TV, and I don't know, I couldn't actually speak for years right now, but there's many of those that you get to see on those reruns that they show on the Pac-12 network throughout the summer and throughout the year. They're back and forth games, and the ones they always show on, at that point are the best ones, but it's pretty heated ones that I've seen that are out there.
I don't want to harp too much on this topic, but it fascinates me in the respect of the change over the decades in coaches and rivalries. Andros was about as animated about this rivalry with Oregon, and back then you had Rich Brooks who went here and all that. Do you remember a time in your coaching or even your football world when some of the coaches or things were just off the wall, like anything between the coaches of BYU and Utah over the years? Or is it because you actually for the first time in a long time are showing us some interest in this and everything. It seems like over the years it's been very homogenized, like any other game, but it's not any other game. Any stories of coaches or wild stuff from your past?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and not tactics that at this point in my coaching career that I would have anything to do with. But I've seen it all. I've seen the helmet stickers in the urinals. I've seen the continuous highlight videos and different things that are going on through there. So it's there's a lot through the years that have taken place, and some other things that probably aren't the best things to take place. So I think, again, it's about respect. But does this game matter for both sides? I mean, absolutely it does. I know it does, and it matters for our kids, and it matters for us. And we're looking forward to representing Oregon State University the way it needs to be represented in this game. And these kids will go out there and they're going to give it their all every opportunity that they get. But heated rivalries, different coaches, I guess they address them in different ways. I was with Coach Mack. He's anybody that knows Coach Mack and has seen him since he's been here, he's older now, but he's still crazy, and he gets after it pretty good. And our kids will definitely have a respect for this game, for what it is as a football game, and the respect for the guys on the other side, but also what it means to their university. And we need to talk about it, and we have. And ex-players, I think the more we bring ex-players back over the years, like we've done this year, we continually have those players come back. Kids need to become more invested in that situation, understanding where it is. There's not a guy on this team that's beat them, right? So to have that feeling, nobody's had that feeling. And that's something that we need to continue to work hard to let them understand how to get that feeling back. And how do you get that feeling back? Well, you get really good players, and then you go out and you find a way to beat a really good team.
Today, watching practice, Seth looked like he was running at receiver with the travel squad, not with the scout team. Is there anything you want to address about his
It's a good eye by you. So, we're sometimes, I guess the easiest way for me to be able to put this is some things that seems impossible a week ago may not be as far away as you think. And we have great trainers here. We have great doctors here. And there's a couple kids that are going to have an opportunity, I think, when that injury report comes out. It's a work in progress at this point, but when that injury report does come out, I'm hopeful that there's a couple young men that I believed, and we all kind of believed that potentially were out for the whole season, and we thought they would be, which that was a week more they would be out, have made tremendous progress. And again, it's a credit to Dr. Ackerman, it's a credit to Rico, and it's a credit to the young men for working their tails off to get to this point. So it's nothing is set yet, but we'll continue to grow. Those young men would be limited to go in and say they're going to play 80 snaps. That would not be the case, but there's a potential that we could get a couple kids back. So I guess I'll leave it at that until the injury report comes out.
And to sort of follow up on that, I mean, if Seth does play at receiver, that's obviously a big change. Just how is he kind of taken to that, and is that potentially a long-term option? Is that a short-term thing just for this week? How do you see that?
Well, we'll evaluate everything as we go through the year. Seth has been, when he was out there, he was obviously a playmaker, and has been out of it now for, whatever it's been, 3.5 weeks or close to a month. And so his ability to come back, and if he can help us, would be fantastic wherever it can be, but he also has to be able to handle it, right, and get the practice reps and make sure we do what we can to make sure the legs are underneath him and he's in good enough shape. So the docs will watch him close. If we have an opportunity to use him and we think it's the best thing for the offense, then we absolutely will. And, we all know Seth good enough to know that, Seth thinks he's indestructible, so he'll run out there and play 100 snaps if at any position. He'd play free safety if we asked him to do it. So he's a competitive young man.
Another quarterback question, but this one about Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
When Vernon Adams plays and he's healthy, I think they've won all their games. They look like one of the best offenses in the country.
Yep.
Just some of your thoughts from what you've seen of him and what he means, what challenges he presents to your defense.
Well, Vernon now seems to be, I'm sure, exactly what they envisioned at the beginning of the season. He's completely at peace with the offense. His ability to scramble is impressive and keep his eyes down the field and make big-time plays. He's got some tremendous playmakers around him, and then they rotate, a couple, 3 of those backs that come through there. Are special players. So he's their offense is firing on all cylinders, and I don't look at a weak point. And if you can see that and watch them right now, it's obvious. Look at the offensive line, look at the tight ends, all the way through, wide receivers, quarterback, running backs. They're very talented. But if you look at, so we studied the Utah game very, very closely, and Vernon, he was hampered in that game, obviously. He tried to play, got it out, had a glove on. I don't know the ins and outs of the injury, but he was not the same young man that he is today. And so obviously he's got himself back to where he feels 100% and at very at peace with the offense. And the surrounding people around him feel very comfortable with him being in there. So it's it's running on all cylinders. You want to do everything you can in this game to keep the ball out of Oregon's hands as much as possible, and those are some tactics we are going to have to use in this game, and a lot of people have, and it's been a little bit effective. Stanford did all they could to keep time off the clock, and it worked out, not quite well enough, but pretty dang well for them.
And Gary, you said you didn't have an opportunity to play in a rivalry game like this in college, but you've certainly been on the sidelines as a coach. And I know there's a lot of hype before the game, and the fans are crazy. But once the game starts, do you find these games to be different than another game, or is a game a game?
No, I think the build up to it, the pregame and all the stuff, it may be a little bit more. But you hope you have an experienced enough team that can get themselves in the moment. Because I'm not a big guy that believes in all the hype speeches and all the stuff. I'd rather celebrate after it and make that be the craziness than the pregame scenarios. I just think you get prepared to go play a football game mentally, and you have an opportunity, guaranteed opportunity to do that 12 times. But there's always a different edge. Similar like we always say, the first game of the year, you worry about some emotion, right? You always do, because it's been hyped up for so long to get to that point. Once you get to the fifth or sixth game of the year, you worry about the kids sustaining that emotion, depending whether they're winning or losing. This year, when we got to the end, you're looking for the kids continually fight and get themselves prepared. That's why I look so hard at effort. I look so hard at the way the kids are playing, and our kids have managed that very well, in my opinion. And in rivalry games, I would worry a little bit more on the, first game of the year scenario that I talked about. After the game and you win those special times. BYU, I was in the press box, which is not a good place for me to be in games, and I remember running down, getting in the elevator, coming down and running down the ramp at BYU to get down on the field, and young coach, mistake, threw my briefcase in the air and never found it again. So that's one thing I remember about those celebrations.
Gary, the win streak for Oregon's at 7 in a row in this game. Once you got hired, how quickly did you hear from fans about the importance of this game, and kind of as the years progressed, have you heard from different fans about the significance of kind of getting a win in this rivalry?
Well, you can't take a job like this and not instantly understand the rivalry. If you know anything about college football or college athletics in general, I would say you're going to know. But as you go around and understand it, there's I've spent many years of my life in coaching and playing and growing up in a heated rivalry. And many times I've been told the same thing. Well, it doesn't matter what happens, coach, just win the last one of the year. And I guess some people feel that way, but it's a big time game. But fans are passionate about it, which we all know. So it's awesome to be part of games like this, because when you don't have rivalries, you're going to try to make a rivalry. If you're in a program where you don't really have a true rivalry, if you're in a program where there's 4 or 5 rivalries, it just loses its edge, in my opinion. So if you have one rival, it's pretty special.
The last Oregon State quarterback to beat the Ducks is on your staff. It's Lyle Moivau. First of all, has he shared anything, or will you pick his brain about this experience? And then maybe just in general, what has he meant to your staff this year as kind of a bridge between the players and the coaches and being in that type of role?
Well, no, I have not discussed that with Lyle. Quite honestly, that's a fact that I did not know. So I'll make sure that I know that now, and I'll make sure that I let the kids know that fact. So Lyle's been really good. I think what he is not just for the Polynesian kids on this team. He played on some very good teams. I had an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator when he was a quarterback, and I think that's just a little bit of a tie. It was a highly heated game. We were fortunate at the end of the day at Utah to be able to win that game in a battle. And I know how good that 2008 team was at Utah. And so preparing for Lyle, him and I have gone back and forth. He actually had a pretty good day throwing the ball against us, not me that day. So, but it was that relationship was there. So I've leaned on him to be able to communicate with the kids in the program, and he does that. He's a good stabilizing force. He's very lighthearted, as you guys know. He's always kind of, like I like to say, loosey-goosey, but that doesn't mean he's not in the moment, and doesn't mean he's not doing his job. So I think he'll be a very good coach as he continues to move forward, if this is the direction that he wants to go.
And then one more quarterback question. Just obviously that's been such a storyline this whole season. Have you been in a situation like this where 3 guys have played, they're all freshmen, ups and downs, that sort of thing? Is this been one of the crazier quarterback scenarios you've gone through?
Yeah, the craziest by quite a ways. That when you have 3 freshmen and they all have to end up playing in those situations, and we have 3 good kids that are battling it out. Every year has its different twists and turns, and but at the end, when it's all said and done, they've all fought like crazy. There's not a lot of agendas on their part, and if there is an agenda on their part, it's been an agenda to really work to be a good quarterback, which is all I can ask for as a coach. And when you're that young, it's so easy to get twisted and turned and caught up into the world or whatever that kids can get caught up in as far as listening to the outside forces, whether it be their team, whether it be social media or whatever it is, and these kids haven't done that, and that's a real credit to them.
Gary, going back to Saturday to the victory through Valley, groundbreaking. Dr. Ray said in one of his quotes that, Oregon State's going to the top and, nothing will stand in our way. How much does that mean to you as a coach to know that the president of the university is that much behind you and your staff and your players, that he sees Oregon State being an elite program not too long from now?
Well, first of all, we have a great president that expects the university to exceed at a high level, and I learned that very quickly. Obviously, I've not been here for a long time, but he lives for Oregon State, and that's pretty special because that's the way I feel about any job that I have. I mean, I live for that football program and the kids that are in it, and I'm very proud to just be a small part of the university. Dr. Ray is a lot bigger part of this university than I'll ever have any opportunity to be, and his commitment to athletics, his commitment to this university is impressive. And when he says it, he means it because he believes it. That's the biggest thing to me, is when a lot of people say a lot of things, but that's what he wants, that's what he expects, but he also believes it can happen, but he's not delusional. He understands where we are today. He understands what direction that we're headed, and he's not afraid to share that with me, which I have great respect for that. That's the environment that you want your boss to have. That's the environment I want to live in with my boss, I should say.
Gary, beyond the wins and losses, what are some of the signs of progress you've seen this year, indications that you guys are going in the right direction?
Well, the big things, obviously the wins and losses wouldn't show that at all. But if you see signs of progress, I continually say it, setting a foundation is so very important. Our kids understand that if they live on the right side of the core values, they're going to be fine. If they go on the left side, they're going to have a major issue. That's not going to change. And, we've had some kids that had to be examples in that area because they backed themselves into a corner, and then, you follow the core rules. You don't back yourselves into that corner. That's a huge foundation for us moving forward because it is hard in this conference to win football games, to continually put yourself in a position to be successful and compete at this level. Secondly, I would say our young men today can see the foundation that's being laid by the administration, by the university, a new facility. That's buy-in for our kids, and some kids are seeing that, and that amps them up. It gets them more driven, and I think there's some other kids that look at that and say, wow, this thing's flipping in a different direction, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. And I love that when that happens. I'm used to that taking place. And then thirdly, I would say the young kids in this program and the old kids in this program have worked extremely hard. If you look at a few of those seniors, and I'm not going to name a bunch of them up here because I could name a lot of them and I don't want to leave one of them off, but you look at the way those seniors have worked with the young kids in this program, and the young kids have respected those seniors, and we've gone through a very tough year. It's been a good locker room. It's been a great practice team. Not a good practice team, a great practice team, and it hasn't gone their way a lot of times. But they've never tried to become cliquish. They've never tried to make their own agenda. They've never sat there and pointed fingers. And in the world of college football that we live in today, when there's much adversity as these kids have seen, okay, we've seen some other things go on in the last little while where there's been relatively no adversity, and all of a sudden it flips the other way, which is very hard to watch and to see. In my opinion, our kids have not been like that. And I think all those things show a sign of progress. If you're in the inner roots of this program, you see a very hard-working unit, which is good to see. But at the end of the day, we're all judged by wins and losses, and I can go on and on. You want to talk academics, you want to talk being involved in the community, all those things. We're playing quality Pac-12 football in those situations, big-time Division I football, which is great, but now we got to make it show up out there.
Are you a believer that it takes a breakthrough win to really get the ball rolling, or can guys see that coming together even in the midst of a tough season like you did?
You know, in my experience, it does take that win, and you know, for those kids to believe that they can walk in and win in any environment. And it's I've been in a couple of those moments, and they were special moments, and it was fun to see that take place. Now, that's happened to me a couple times? Is that what flips everything? I don't know exactly what flips it, but I know when you get those special wins, and then you all of a sudden start to play better, it makes you believe that that's part of it.
Little strategy can you talk about Royce Freeman and where he fits in with some of the other running backs? I mean, they talk about all the great quarterbacks in this league, but there's some great running backs too, and he's a pretty beefy guy along with the speed. What do you think about the challenges there?
Yeah, I hope the word beefy doesn't upset him. So he's a big dude, that's for sure. He's a great running back. He can do it all. He's physical. In my opinion, he catches the ball very, very well when he's given the opportunity. He wants to be physical in the protections when they ask him to be, and you know he can run it in between the tackles. A lot of their run plays are based off just zone play, just the zone play and the zone blocking. But they want to be physical, and it starts up front with the offensive line. They're not the offensive line that just runs sideways. They're going to latch onto you and get some double teams when you can, and let the backs get downhill. But he's a tremendous back. I don't see a weakness. I guess the best thing I say about him is, I've been lucky. I've been around some great ones that went on and played in the NFL and still are playing for a long time. And those guys are born. They're not made, in my opinion. And he's one of those guys that's going to go on in the NFL and play for a long time.
And they have a number of guys, Griffin. They'll bring in 3-4 guys that can, one speed versus the beef. Beef isn't muscle, by the way. And is that harder to prepare for, or do you just prepare for we're just going to stop who's back there? I mean, how do you deal with a team that's got the cupboard is so full?
They don't change dramatically within a scheme when they get to those situations, but they do have different skill sets. And any great team in this league, I think that's going to be right in there at the very, very end and relies heavily on their run game, is going to have 2 or 3 of those running backs. Sometimes more alike than the others. In this case, you're correct. There's a different running style. Some like to get to the edges. One may be faster. One may be more physical. But they have 3 very, very talented running backs, and the 3 that I've seen that come up to jump right out at me. So,
as someone that's watched every episode of The Drive, what's been your overall reaction to having the crew around? And I'm wondering what kind of responses you've gotten from maybe recruiting or just others in the college football world on it.
They've been awesome. The only bad thing they've done is they knocked my cookie jar off, my candy glass dish off my desk and shattered it. But other than that, they've been money. So it's been awesome. They've done a ton for our program. They've been highly involved. They've been very professional for us. They're putting out a product that every single week for us that shows us on a national stage, and it's been through a very tough year. I think they've done a tremendous job of showing a vision of our program and what we all want to be as we move forward. We want to be known as toughness, take care of the kids. We want to be a family environment. All those things have come out very, very clear, in my opinion, through the drive. And we would take them every year if we could get them every single year. It's a powerful, powerful tool, and anybody that doesn't believe that is, crazy. But they're great at what they do too.
And with it being Thanksgiving this Thursday, is there anything you're especially thankful for this year? And what's a necessity for the Andersen family Thanksgiving dinner?
Well, when you get kids scattered a little bit around, nothing real special for us that we're going to do as a family. Thursday we'll obviously practice and move our way down to the game site, which will be, good for us. We'll get the team together and have a little bit. I guess a little more Thanksgiving dinner on Wednesday than we will on Thursday with our team. Thursday will be kind of standard operating procedure. And I look at that as an environment to where if we're in a position to where we have an abnormal Christmas in college football, that means good things have come our way, right? And so we have an abnormal situation on Thanksgiving, so that means we have an opportunity to play on a special day when not a lot of people are playing. So that's an abnormal situation in college football. It's a great spot to be. So what do I have to be thankful for? Oh, I got a lot to be thankful for. I'm very blessed in a lot of different ways. I got a great family. I got the best job in America, in my opinion. I got great people around me, and there's nothing I'd rather be doing, which is, those things I'm blessed. And my mom's still with me, so that's another thing I'm blessed for. Okay, thanks, guys.